and to bring you your fix of everything related to the Montreal Canadiens. Two men who could seriously use an intervention. Your source of Habs talk, right from the rock. Right from the rock.
Hello, Canada, hockey fans, United States, and Newfoundland.
Hockey Junkie and GK.
We got a new intro. Gary, do you like that one?
It's a beauty, man. I love
That
it.
didn't go too bad. That's not bad, eh?
That was solid. Yeah, that was solid.
Welcome to season 2, episode number 19. Right, Gary? It's 19
19.
of the Fix podcast. My name is Matt, also known as Hockey Junkie, and joining me today, alive in skin, is Gary. GK.
How's it going, buddy? Nice to see you again.
Oh, it's always nice, ain't it?
Absolutely.
You know what else
Absolutely,
is nice?
man.
Seeing a stud like Ivan Demidov on the screen in the background. Man, are you as excited as I am right now? You got to be excited. You were texting me at like 1 a.m. last night.
I was just there, man, and I was like, I watched one Demidov highlight on Twitter, and I was like, I bet there's a good video on YouTube. And then I was watching them all. And the play I sent you when he was doing it, like he was coming across and did like a fake drop pass and then kicked him up to himself. It was just like, I had to send it to you. I had to.
It was a beauty, man. It was like 1 a.m. and all of a sudden I'm hearing my phone ding. And I usually keep my phone under my pillow. I hear the phone ding and I just like pick it up. I'm like, what the hell's going on? And all of a sudden it's like Gary. And he's like, man, skip to 3 minutes and 30 seconds into this video. This Ivan Demidov clip is insane. I should have got it. I should have got it for this.
You should have got it. It's not too late.
It was pretty badass, though, I got to say, man.
It was. I mean, it's what, like 11 minutes long, the video I sent you, I think, or 7 minutes long. And it's just highlight after highlight.
And it's on 4K, too.
Yeah, it's a beauty video. I'll put the links when we put the video up on YouTube. We'll put the links in the video in the comments below because it's definitely worth watching, man.
It was well done, man.
Yeah, it really is, and it even got like the Russian commentary, so you can really get it when there's no background sound. You don't really get the feel of it, but and you can hear the pronunciation of his name by real Russian announcers and everything. So it's a really nice video. So we'll put the link in the comments when we post this, and I think everyone like it and go and look at it. Was it 3 minutes and 30 seconds? I think it told you. He's coming across the top of the ice and he fakes like he's going to drop it between his legs and then kicks it back up to himself. Just super creative, man. And he frees the D and he makes some space for himself in that play. And it's nuts.
Gary, when was the last time the Canadiens had a prospect that was like this electrifying, man? Like, you got to admit, Ivan Demidov is like, I don't even know how to explain it, man. He's like finding a chocolate chip and a friggin' pile of rabbit shit. Is he not, though? He is. He's like finding a chocolate chip.
I mean, for Habs fans, we get excited about 18th overall picks. We get excited about whatever, but we haven't had this type of prospect in our prospect pool ever. Well, I mean, I won't say ever, but as long as I can remember, yeah, in our lifetime, in our generation of watching hockey, we've had some electric players. We got to see. I mean, Carey Price. I mean, we should show a bit of respect because he was a phenomenal pick, obviously.
PK Subban,
franchise player. PK Subban, but again, PK was he was a second round pick. Even our first round picks like Slavkovsky right now is playing fantastic, but there wasn't a widespread acceptance of him right out of the gate. The excitement wasn't there. David Reinbacher, obviously, again, it wasn't there. Lane Hutson is electric right now, but I think most people didn't know what we had first when we drafted him. He was a 60-something pick, 62, I believe. So when you look at those picks, there's lots of players we've been excited about. But with this kind of potential right off the hop, like for many pundits in the hockey world look and say that this kid should have been probably the second overall pick regardless. And even though he might not be the number one player overall in this draft, probably will be or could be the highest producing player drafted out of this draft. And it's a good draft. It's not like the higher producing in Slavkovsky's draft. And again, I love Uri Slavkovsky, but there's no one in that draft who's going to even touch Macklin Celebrini or Ivan Demidov, I don't think, as far as point totals in their career. It's exciting. It's very exciting.
I like how, I think it was Tony Marinaro asked, I'm pretty sure it was Marinaro, asked Kent Hughes if he had the second overall pick, who would he have picked? And he said Ivan Demidov, no hesitation. Then they asked Nick Bobrov, like they asked Bobrov if they got the steal of the draft, and right away he was like, absolutely. He said he was very cocky about it. Like he knows, man. He knows he's got a beauty in Demidov. Yeah.
And I think like Montreal, we'll talk more about maybe the rest of the draft picks, or at least the first couple of rounds of draft picks. Oh boy. But Barbarov, he got to go to Russia. He got to see this player firsthand. He got to know the family. His dad works for SKA, so he got an inside track. I think there's aspects of getting a player in Russia now, not being able to see him live, even though, they might look fantastic on tape. You don't get to see all those aspects. You don't get to see how they interact on the bench. You don't get to see him in practice. You don't get to see a bunch of things. That wasn't the case for Montreal. We get to see all those things, and those guys were still clamoring to get up there and draft him. So, I mean, we were excited. I mean, you can go back on Hockey Junkie channel, man. Anyone who's not following him, go look on the channel. Go look at our reactions. We were half an hour wishing this would happen, and then it actually happened. And it was just, euphoria. Look at our faces. It's beautiful.
And now we can't even sleep. Poor Gary's up all night, man.
It's like knowing what you're getting for Christmas, but having to wait for it. It's brutal.
I know. What was I saying earlier? It's almost like, can you imagine telling your kid on Christmas Eve, like, I think we're going to wait until next Christmas instead to open the gifts. Like, exactly. That's what we're going through right now. You know what I mean?
I know.
Yeah.
And like, when you look at Ken Hughes, you look at his press conference, and if we're being realistic, chances are, and I'm saying, I think I'm going to put this at 70%. 70% chances that Ivan Demidov goes in next season, plays for, I think they say SKA, SKA, so we'll say SKA for now. Plays for SKA next season, and, maybe he plays middle minutes. I don't know what he's going to play, but he plays a role there. He finishes up next season, and he comes on over after the season is over. Hopefully in time for the end of season push for Montreal. That can happen because their season ends earlier over there, depending on how deep they go in the playoffs. So I'm going to put that at 70% for the listeners. There is a chance, and if you go back and watch Ken Hughes' press conference, he talks about SKA and how how good of an organization they are, and kind of pumps their tires a bit. But if you read between the lines, he kind of indicates that, listen, if they don't put him in the KHL, if he does get sent back down to Russian junior, that they'll look at a way to get him out of there, a la Matvei Michkov this year. So I'll put that at like 10%. That brings us up to 80%. And there's still 20% of who knows what. Could go, I don't know, who knows. But to me, that's like, I don't know if that'd be worst case scenario or best case scenario, but it gets him over here earlier. But obviously be the more controversial path for him to take. So I don't have any issue with him developing for another year in Russia. Let him cook, let him build some confidence, let him build on his skills, and then get his ass over here and just rip it up, man.
I wonder how they bring him over though. Eh? Like, I wonder what guys they send to get him. Definitely RB, definitely Florian, probably Gordon. I don't know. I'm thinking maybe Kyle too, because someone's going to need to talk shit. You know what I mean? There's got to be. Maybe they'll take me. I don't know.
I'd send you.
Maybe
they wouldn't argue with you.
Me too. I'd send me too.
I'd send Barbarov. Barbarov over there. He's a badass.
Oh yeah, he is. Yeah, definitely. He's a thug for sure. He's a good shit. Right, I'm actually really excited that they got him, because you know what though? All jokes aside, man, Nick Bobrov is like, he's the man that kind of made this happen, in my opinion. Eh? Without Bobrov, we probably wouldn't have Demidov.
I don't think so. Or at least, like, it gives you an inside track on the kid. You know what I mean? So I'll take that any day of the week. And for anyone out there who is not like familiar with this kid, legitimately looks like, I heard one scout say that his floor is 70 to 80 points in the NHL. Like, We got guys whose floor is like, the ECHL. So, like, this kid's floor is a 70-point winger in the NHL with potentially 100-point potential in the NHL. Like, that's the type of player we're looking for. And if you're the Montreal Canadiens, and we've been talking about it for, 2 seasons now, we've been doing this thing. That is one thing that's been missing from this prospect pool, has been a legitimate elite offense producing forward. And we've been brushing the edges with Cole Caulfield and brushing the edges with Nick Suzuki and touching on it with Doc and touching on it with Newhook, but never had that pure talent. This guy is that pure talent. If all goes well, and I can't see it. I mean, there's always scenarios where couldn't I guess, but I really can't see it. This guy changes the landscape in Montreal completely.
Man, gets me so excited though, because like we all want to see Cole Caulfield get 50 goals. We all want to see Nick Suzuki get 100 points, 90 points even will be like wicked. 100 points might be a bit of a reach, but I mean, you toss a guy like Ivan Demidov into that lineup, man, and all of a sudden everybody's looking better. Whoever's playing those big minutes with Demidov is just going to be eating up the points, eating up the goals.
Well, you look at Nick Suzuki, and you put a guy of his talent on one wing or the other, and his point totals just go up at it, like, just organically. Like, that's the way it works. And it changes your looks on offense. At the moment, you got Suzuki, you got Caulfield, you got Slafkovsky. That's your top line. And really, the way they clicked last year, it'd be hard to look at messing with that. But you add a guy like Ivan Demidov to it, and you're like, well, Slavkovsky looked pretty good with Doc too, didn't he? And now you can take him down. You imagine, like, because the thing with Demidov is, if you look at his highlights, like I said, we'll put that in the links. He loves to hold the puck. He loves to skate the puck, and he loves to shoot the puck, but he can dish it too. Like, some of these no-look passes, like, he sees passing lanes, man, that are you didn't even know they were there. He opens them up with his lateral movement, and he creates passing lanes all on his own. And Suzuki does it too in different ways. But my goodness, like, you picture him dashing the puck to Cole Caulfield. Holy Christ, man! It's going to be
his footwork like blows my mind watching his feet. I don't know why, but he's just so shifty, eh?
Yeah, he goes to that 10-2 kind of foot position sometimes. Like, he's not there all the time, but he does that. Cale Makar does that, and you'll see Lane Hudson do that at times. You see Nathan McKinnon do it at times. But the big NHLers who I see do it on a regular basis, Cale Makar is the number one guy who breaks it into his arsenal. Now, Demidov doesn't skate like Cale Makar. I think we should put that out there. I think his skating and Lane Hudson's skating are actually very similar, like that deception in their skating. Because people say the same thing about Hudson. Like, his edge work and his deception are great, but his overall skating stride and mechanics is not perfect. Now, he makes it work, and obviously it's not an issue. And Demidov, similarly, doesn't have the most beautiful skating mechanics overall, but his lateral movement with that kind of 10-2 skating is unique, and he utilizes it to the T. And he's also fast enough and explosive enough to kind of just skate normally as well. But when you see him break that out, and kind of, it just adds, because when you open up like that, are you going left? Are you going right? The defenseman doesn't know. It just adds so much deception to it, and he uses it, man. It's unreal to watch, and his hands are unbelievable. It's beautiful.
Gets me all excited, man. And just picturing him and Lane Hudson running a power play too. Oh, God. Gets me going. Now, listen, I don't mean to go all Bob Ross here, but I'm going to paint you a picture, okay? This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to paint you a little picture, Gary. Imagine Ivan Demidov on a line. He's got Michael Pezzetta, and he's got Mario Armia. What do you think their point totals are? It's a genuine question. I'm being serious.
Well, obviously, Demidov's got 100 points, and the other two managed to not get an assist.
Mario's got 100 points, man. Come on. You can't do our boy wrong.
Mario Armia played stellar down the line. I mean, we joke, but he did play fantastic. Maybe fantastic.
I still say he should have won the Calder last season. Bedard stole it.
Fantastic.
Everyone knows that, Gary.
He at least earned his contract in the second half of last season.
He did, yeah. Gary, do you want to touch on this, Gary? Honda Civic I mean, I don't want to play some. Who was it? Sarah McLachlan sings "I Want to Remember You." Is that who it is, or is that someone else? I don't
Plays
know.
what?
That song. No, I'm not going to sing it, Gary. You're trying to get me to sing it.
I am, yeah.
But like we know that's the one. You know what I was talking about.
I know what you're talking about. I just hoping you were going to do it.
Are we going to miss Honda Civic or what? Man, I hate it when they trade away memes. Like I'm down 2 pit licks. I've only got 1 left. And now they go out and they move Honda Civic on me. I mean, it needed to happen. But 2026 4th round pick. You know what though? All jokes aside, man, I wish him the best. I really liked Honda Civic.
Yeah, me too. I mean, we gave up nothing. Just to kind of clarify, people don't know. You know, we got Kovacevic on waivers from Winnipeg, and so we didn't give up anything for him. And he was serviceable last 2 years. You know, he played. I wouldn't say big minutes, but he played, you know, serviceable minutes. He played well. He's a big body. He kind of, you know, he could he threw his weight around. He moved the puck fairly well. He gave you a little bit of offense at times. You know, I mean, obviously he's not a cornerstone of this defense moving forward. I would have liked to see more than a 4th round pick in return for him, but at the same token, you turned nothing into a 4th round pick. So from an asset management perspective, it works. And there's a massive log jam on the back end. Also with waivers next season, like he would have had clear waivers. You know, Justin Barron needs clear waivers next year. So there's a whole scenario there where, yes, would I like to have him as a 7th defenseman? Sure. But if he's there, someone else is not going to be there. And then you're risking losing guys on waivers. So I thought, you know, do this move now when it looks like you're not desperate to do it.
Yeah, no, it makes complete sense to me. I mean, like you said, he's not a cornerstone piece of the team or anything like that. He's just like he's going to be a 7th defenseman is what he would have been. But I still feel like on the left side, man, they are absolutely cramped. They're cramped
and they
on the left side still. Yeah, and that's going to be the big one. Everyone was like expecting a big move yesterday during free agency. We'll get to that in a bit, but to me, like I feel like the big move is yet to come. There's going to be a big move, and I feel like it's going to be a left defenseman, probably one that someone's going to get hurt. Fans are going to get hurt. Feelings are going to be shattered, but somebody's going to get moved, and there's going to be a good player coming back in return.
Yeah, I agree. Like you don't get anything for nothing. Like, we keep saying that on here, so. We got a bunch of players who I like. Some players I really like, obviously, especially among our defensive core. But you know, there's a list of players where we could move out and maybe package with a pick, you know, for next season. And I wouldn't be heartbroken necessarily, as long as the return was right, you know. And that's like, I mean, I don't want to see Lane Hudson move. You know, I don't want to see Logan Mailloux move. I don't want to see David Reinbacher move. I don't really want to see Caden Gooley move. I don't want to see Arber Xhekaj move. I don't want to see those players move. Those are good players with lots of value. Maybe one of those guys does move. Like, you know, that could happen. That could be the piece that tips the scales the other way. I don't want to see it. I really don't. But at the end of the day,
I'll snap, Gary.
If it's Arber Xhekaj, especially.
If the guy on the screen gets moved, I'll snap. I'll lose it. I can't see it though. I don't know why, but it feels like
I don't see it either.
To the Jackals. Yeah, they drafted his brother. Man, I just can't see it.
I know, and I do like when you look at the problem with these young defensemen is, and we talked about this before, is that while there's potential there, and there's like. Again, like you look at the guys I just mentioned have potential, and guys like Jordan Harris and Jaden Struble and Justin Barron all have potential. Like they all do have a lot of potential. But what is potential worth? You know what I mean? Like right now they're struggling to establish themselves in the NHL. I won't say struggling, but you know, it takes time to do that. So what's their value to another team? Like right now, there's still a risk. Like Caden Gooley, the guy who just popped up there, he's probably the least risky defenseman for a team to take on. And he's probably also the least one you want to move for that same reason, because we know what we have in him. You know, so as soon as we know what we have in a guy, we want to trade them less. but then their value is also higher. And we talked about it before, and I did a couple of my last podcast. I put it on my own because you bailed on me, left me all by myself.
I did.
Mike Masson was a name I mentioned in a couple of trade deals because at the end of the day, I think that when we're competitive, 3 years from now, like legitimately competitive, I don't think we'll need Mike Masson as much as we need Mike Masson right now. And I think right now he has more value than anybody else. Legit NHL tradable value right now. I think he could get you the biggest return on if you did want to bring in another top 6 guy. So like, as much as we might look at it and say, well, let's move out Justin Barron, let's move out Harris, let's move out Struble, because they're good players. And I think they are. And I think to me, those guys in most organizations are legit middle pairing defensemen. I think has value. Like a top 4 defenseman is valuable, but they're not it yet. So there's risk for teams that are taking them on, and they're less likely to give up substantial assets for that. So it's about like, are you okay to give up these guys and only get a suboptimal return? That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, I'm for some reason, whenever there's talks about trading defensemen, I don't know why, but Matheson's name doesn't come to my mind. I'm always thinking worst case scenario and moving a young guy. But I mean, if you're trading to a cup contending team, man, maybe that just adds to it. Maybe they do want that veteran. Maybe there's a young forward that hasn't reached his potential yet, and that's the guy that they're willing to trade for that reason alone. You know what I mean? Maybe Matheson can push them over the top.
The other thing right now that kind of pops to my mind is when you look at Cutter Gauthier went. And they brought back Drysdale. Not Drysdale, yeah. The contact. He traded him to, him time. Freak. Yeah. Anyways, to Colorado. Cutter Gauthier, significant piece. So right now you got Rudder McGorty in Winnipeg. Very similar player to Gauthier, exact same circumstance. And we've got defensemen who are as good as Drysdale was, in my opinion. Yeah. And maybe that's something Winnipeg might be open to. And we could sweeten that pot.
Could be, man.
And I think he would slide into your middle 6. Lovely. He's big, he's rugged. He plays the game the right way, I think. I think that he would be great in Montreal, and I'd be open to that. And I think that's 2 question marks. You're exchanging a defensive question mark with potential one way for an offensive question mark coming back the other way. So I would like that move. And I think that, whether that's enough for Winnipeg, I don't know. And I think Montreal could sweeten that pot with, who knows? I mean, there's a bunch of options here what we could sweeten that pot with. Either young forward, maybe, with maybe a little less potential along with a defenseman, or a roster player like Christian Dvorak.
Could happen, man. Christian Dvorak and his big, beautiful smile could be gone, Gary. God,
Hasta la vista, Christian.
Hasta la vista. Yeah. So Jacko and Barron, Jacko and Barron have been given qualifying offers. I don't know if you heard about Jacko, but he just switched an agent too.
I did hear that.
Yeah. So hopefully
it doesn't really bother me so much.
No, hopefully Florian switched too. 2 of them switched. I actually got an email from his old agent 2 days ago. I actually knew about this before it was made public. Hockey Junkie, the insider, because I reached out to him. Yeah, the guy followed me on Twitter, so I reached out to see if I could get a little interview or something with Arby or Florian. But he wrote me back, like I'd say 4 or 5 days ago, and said that he doesn't represent him anymore. And I was like, wait, what? I was kind of confused. And then a couple of days later, it was kind of made public. I think it was Bartlett's now got him picked up. So
yeah, you should have broke
maybe
that.
we'll try and get in touch with them. I should have, man. I should have broke that, right?
You should have broke that. Absolutely.
My own little Elliot Friedman moment there. What it'll happen.
One of these days.
Yeah, one of these days, man. Speaking of signings, though, we did get a big one, Gary. We got one to talk about, don't we?
Absolutely.
The Slav King Slav has been signed $7.6 million over the next 8 years. And it doesn't kick in either until the end of next season, because he's still on
9 more seasons.
So, 9 more seasons of Slavkovsky, man. And he comes in right in under Nick Suzuki and Cole Caulfield. So he's dialed in, man. Just like the rest of the boys, he's dialed in.
That's solid value, man.
It is.
I mean, you'll see if you look around the league. I watched Steve Dangle Network had a podcast on. They were following free agency yesterday. So, I mean, this is heavy Leaf flavored.
Oh, yeah.
I will say. And even those guys were saying that could have been the best signing of first day of free agency.
Yeah.
And I think long term, unless something drastic happens with Slavkovsky's development, man, I think this is a money deal. He's going to be, he's going to continue to develop, I think. You're looking at an 80-point ceiling for Slafkovsky. With I think your kind of money in the bank that he's going to hit that 65, 70-point plateau most of his seasons once he hits his kind of, once he hits his peak of playing ability. And right now it's a good deal. 5 seasons from now, when the cap goes up a little bit, it's going to be a phenomenal deal. And you got that whole line linked in for less than $8 million per. And his quote, I was listening to his press conference today, and he's like, I don't really care about the money. I just want to be here.
Ain't that a beauty? What a beauty, man.
What kind of culture? That's the culture in Montreal right now. You have these young guys who just want to play together, just want to do something special together. And it's that's got to be music to your ears, man. It's music to my ears.
Yeah. And he was interviewed too in Slovakia. And they translated it on Twitter. I wish I should have kept a screenshot, but he was talking about the same thing, it wasn't about the money. But then he said he's happy because his parents don't have to work anymore. What a nice kid, eh?
He's a beauty, man.
He is a beauty.
If you get a chance and you go on the Habs YouTube there, man, there's that whole interview with him is on there, and just he just oozes it's just, I don't know, there's so much character there, and he just seems so genuine. And we talked about this with this core group before in Montreal, they just seem and maybe it's just appearances, but wholesome, good guys who just want to work hard and want to win for each other. Ego doesn't seem to be a thing in that dressing room, and it's just it's, if you're management there, if you're Ken Hughes and you're looking at what you have there, you got to just be man, how lucky am I right now? And I mean, a little bit lucky and a little bit patting yourself on the back because you made that happen and you set that environment up. So, things are looking good, man. They're looking real good.
And you know what? Nick Suzuki too, sitting it up that way, kind of. You know what I mean? By taking the $7.875 million to begin with, coming in at under $8 million as the captain. Cole Caulfield followed him. And I mean, he didn't have to. Caulfield put up an incredible season right before that. And he signed in just lower. And then Slavkovsky dialed into it too, man. It just says a lot about that coffee line up front. Small, medium, and large. Boom.
And they said, man, today, again, they asked Slavkovsky in that interview, I don't know if it was today or yesterday, are you going to feel pressure with that kind of money? And they talked about Caulfield and his kind of a little bit of a down season, relatively speaking, from at least a scoring perspective, until he kind of picked it up the second half of the season. And he was like, listen, man, it's 8 years. We're going to play bad. I'm going to have bad games. It's going to happen. You can't expect to play good for 8 years straight without any downs. And he said, I'm just going to take it one day at a time, one game at a time. It's a lot of great mindset. I don't know who he's been talking to, but it's just everything that came out of his mouth today was just holy crap, this kid's 20 years old. There's no way this guy's 20 years old. Yeah. It's so much maturity there for a guy that age. It's refreshing. And I tell you, in what I saw at Demidov, it's the same type of vibe, man. The English is not as good.
It is.
But it's the same type of vibe, same kind of quiet confidence, just focus on the game and getting better and being the best player they can be. And maybe it's all BS. I don't know. But it just resonates when you listen to them talk as young kids about the game. And when you got Demidov coming into that environment, Slavkovsky was first overall pick. And he's sitting there and he's putting the team first, and he's taking, I won't say less money, because let's face it, he just got a $60 million contract, but he's willing to absorb that right now, take it right now, put it out over 8 years and say, I'm here and I'm staying here. I'm part of the core and I want to win. And that's what Demidov's going to come into, that environment with those guys who are leading the way. It's, to me, it could be, we talk about Boston all the time about how that's like, that's how they got good and stayed good because of that mentality. To see that translate over to Montreal right now with arguably, not yet maybe, but like the potential to even have more talent that's willing to do that. Like, that's impressive, man.
It is. But the Boston Bruins knew how to get it done. I mean, Brad Marchand was a beauty. They all bought into the same system, and now it looks like the Habs are creating that kind of culture themselves too, man. And it's going to go a long ways.
Yeah, it started with Bergeron. It started with Chara. I think, to me, that's when that kind of mentality started there. And, how many times have you heard Suzuki's name mentioned a la Patrice Bergeron? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's the same. It's all about culture. It's all about environment in the dressing room, and picking up the torch and taking it on through. So, man, it's exciting.
You know what I read today? I'm pretty sure these are the numbers. 61% of the Leafs cap next season is going to be tied up into 5 players. 61%.
That's crazy.
That's a lot, man.
And the guys take 26, I think. Our top line will take 26% and tied up for 8 years.
Yeah.
So that percentage is going to go down every season. Every time the cap goes up, the percentage our top line is going to take off the cap goes down.
Oh, man, it sounds so good. Like, if Slavkovsky
hits, Matthews,
it's hard. Yeah. It's going to be just like the McKinnon.
And Matthews only signed for 4.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
I know. Matthews, man. I hope they don't. And
whatever. Even if you look at the Leafs cap structure with 4, maybe 5 guys, if you consider Riley as part of that core group, but they're all so similar. You know what I mean? They're all similar guys. They're offensive, finesse guys. It's all very similar. But you look at what Montreal's drafted over the last, say, 3 drafts. You look at Slavkovsky. You look at Ryan Backer. You look at Demidov. And they're completely different molds of players. You got the big, strong, offensive, creative, playmaking winger, who's going to use his size. And his board play is phenomenal, especially in the second half of this season. And that's what Kent Hughes saw when he drafted him. And then you got, your 6'3" defenseman who looks like he can come up and play in your top. So, you got a bit of offense, you got a bit of defense. You already had Suzuki and Caulfield there anyways. So you got a little bit of diversity there. Then you bring in Demidov, who is, by all accounts, has a motor. Like, he just keeps playing all the time. He's on all the time. So he, on top of the super skill that he has, he's also super competitive. And he'll dig and he'll do whatever he needs to get the puck. So, like, super skilled, big, strong, 6'4" winger, 6'4" defenseman, a good core, a punt load of defense, kind of just backing that offensive, forwards up, with a bunch of diverse skills in their own right. You got Lane Hudson, you got Logan Milieu, you got shot, you got physicality, you got finesse, you got playmaking. It's all over the lineup. There's skill and diversity. It's a team they're building. It's not a one-trick pony, and it's beautiful.
Oh, it is, man. It feels like the Leafs just signed the friggin' Backstreet Boys and just started plugging in the wrist. You know what I mean? They even look a bit like the Backstreet Boys. I don't know. But I'm just saying, though, like, that's what they went out and did. They just got all these Backstreet Boy guys in there, and now I don't know, Gary. It's not looking good. We'll drink this.
I'm waiting for the metaphor to finish. But you're right. Like, it's just, they got the boy band there and they do the same thing. Each of them do the same thing. No one's playing the bass. No one's playing the guitar. No one's playing the drums. They just got 4 lead singers.
Have a bouncer. Well, they do got a bouncer. They got Ryan Reeves protecting them, but still.
Ryan Reeves. Oh, I don't know, man.
Oh, man.
All right. Before we kind of move on to maybe talk about free agency or whatever we're going to talk about next, we should talk about maybe not all Montreal's draft picks, but I think two more draft picks that were drafted on day 1 for one of them, and then our first pick on day 2 that I think worth mentioning. Michael Haig, and is, we moved up. We packaged up, what was it, picks 26, 26, 50 something, and 120 something to move up to 21, to get this kid, Michael Haig. As you can see there, he's a center right now. Some people project him as a wing, 6 foot and a little bit, 190 pounds. And another player who turned it on as the season went on, had some, anyone who's kind of listened to him, he had some trauma at the end of last year. His father passed away. He had a rough start to the season, or at least a slower start than I think he would have liked. And I mean, the kid's 18 years old and lost his dad. So what do you expect, really? The fact that he was just able to go and play speaks a lot to his character. But then as the season went on, just started to turn it up and play better and play better and play better. If you listen to Ken Hughes, this is the guy they moved up to get. I think that he was one of the players that they moved up hoping to get. I think that, they made that deal the day before. I think there must have been like at least 3 players that they figured could have been available there. I think Cole Eiserman would have been another one. He went right before he picked on 21, which we were a little bit like, come on, man, like 20.
I know, yeah.
But this kid is going to play. I think he's going to the University of Michigan, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
He's at camp. He's at our not our camp, but our rookie, whatever it is that's going on right now. So he's going to be an interesting one to keep his eye on. Our eyes on. A lot of people are saying the kid's got top 6 potential. And at 20, at 21, that's not always the case. So he's got legitimate top 6 potential, even as a center. Some people will say he's not small. He skates like the wind. I keep getting people describe him. If you look, it's like he's lengthy. I don't know what that means, but it's a new description for me. But they keep describing it as that, so I don't know what even that means. But to me, is his stride is long, maybe he's tall. I don't know, but they describe him as lengthy when they describe him. So I think he could hit, and I think he could hit pretty big. And I mean, really, I don't think you could judge him on the way he played the first half of the season, and he came on strong the second half of the season. And I mean, so did Caden Lindstrom, and look where he ended up. Look at a couple of players who rose. Bennett Sinek is another kid who really rose because of his late kind of push. So this kid, I think, could be the real deal. It'll take some time to see what we have in him, but definitely potential.
I wasn't very excited about the forward prospect pool last season, man. I was huge critic. Like, I just didn't believe in a lot of the forwards, but man, it's incredible what one draft can do, because now not only do you got Demidov, you got this Michael Hage kid too, and everything that I've seen about him, everything that I've heard about him, like he's for real, man. Like, he could turn into be an absolute steal as well.
Like, easily playing the top one. I won't say easily, but he could play top 6 forward potential.
And that's crazy, right?
It is crazy.
That's nuts, man. He comes in and like, is he slightly above Bick right now on the charts, do you think?
I think his ceiling is above where Beck is. And I mean, we love Owen Beck. Hey, Owen Beck's a fixed favorite, obviously, but I think so. I mean, Beck, I think, he's a third line center, a good third line center.
Yeah.
If this guy ends up being your third line center, you're a cup contender.
Wicked, eh?
And I think maybe he pushes up his skill set. He could easily play in the wing, and there's a little bit of a hole there right now if Montreal doesn't make any other moves, where he could easily play in your top 6. And regardless, man, if you're a championship team, which Montreal hopes to be in a few years,
next season,
you need your superstars, and you do. And we have that now, hopefully. I should knock on some wood here. But, I think right now I'm more comfortable with the elite talent that's in our prospect pool than I was a week ago. Way more comfortable. But also, you got to get lucky. Regardless, you have to get lucky. Like, you look at these teams that are really competitive. At some point, there's a guy there who is drafted in the second round or late first round or third or fifth round who comes in and puts in 30 goals in the net. Across the board, that is a common denominator on these teams that are competitive. At some point, they got lucky. On top of being good and being smart and drafting well, they got lucky at some point and they hit on someone that wasn't supposed to hit. And Farrell, Mijar, Kapanen, this kid, or Koivu, as we're going to talk about next. If one of those hits to add to the core group that we already have of elite, kind of highly touted, high-end prospects, then that's the only piece that's missing, is that one lucky piece, or that bottom six piece who scores you 20 goals down the stretch and puts in a playoff winning goal, a series winning goal when they don't look like they should. Your Arturi Lehkonen of this group. Who's that going to be?
Just say it, Gary. There. Sam Bennett. Sam Bennett. Sam Bennett could be that guy too. That name pops up on every podcast. You know, the show South Park, they always say, like, if you watch the episodes, you'll see like an alien pop up somewhere in the background. Like, there's always an alien apparently that you don't see, but Sam Bennett's like that in their podcast. His name just pops up out of nowhere all the time.
I thought shit was the thing that always popped up on our podcast.
Oh, shit always pops up too. But one guy that ain't shit. How about that segue? One guy that ain't going to be shit is Atos Koivu. Is that how you say his name? I don't know. That's all I'm saying. We just call him Toast. We call him Toast. He could have been a good line mate for Sean Monahan. Toast Koivu. Line mate of Sean Monahan one day. Maybe not. Though.
Maybe. Sean Monahan signed a 3-year deal. You see that? Columbus.
He's getting a little pricey. I think, wasn't it 5 years? 5 years at $5 million?
Was it 5 years?
I'm pretty sure, man.
Yeah, you might be right. Yeah.
Yeah,
anyways,
I'm pretty sure.
Sean Monahan in a bit. This kid's name is Toast from now on, though.
Nicknames are born every day. But yeah, man, Toast Koivu, Saku's kid, unreal. Straight out of the toaster, this guy. He's gonna slide in like he's just over buttered. I can see it. I gotta stop.
Right up. Yeah, the metaphor is dying. Another kid who I was listening to, he had, again, if you go on to Montreal's YouTube page, they got a full-length interview with him after the draft. And he talks about, he was small and it really wasn't coming together for him. And his dad was just like, they asked him what the best piece of advice that his dad gave him was. He was just like, be patient and wait to develop physically. Because he said, like, he was always a decent hockey player, but he was always small and it was hard for him to make an impact. And then this year, U18s, and he did well in U20s, and he got to play some time in Liga, and it just like it all clicked because, he started to develop a little bit more maturity. And I think that, Montreal banks a lot on these late risers, man. And he's another one. So, did his last name being Koivu impact him drafting him at this spot?
No.
Maybe just a little. They say it didn't, but maybe just a little. But, if he pans out, man, it's another guy. It's a third rounder. A third rounder is a dart at a board at the best of times.
Imagine how exciting
his last name is Koivu. He's got to be pumped, man.
And imagine how exciting it is for Saku. Holy shit. Saku's got to be.
He said that like his mom was the first one that realized that Montreal drafted him, and then like his mom was crying, his dad was like smiling ear to ear, and again a well-spoken kid, lots of confidence, and seems like he's got the right mindset when you listen to his interview. Obviously a limited sample size, but still, man, like another good pick I think by the Montreal Canadiens. And I think we'll probably talk more about. Maybe we'll do a breakdown of the whole draft pool in our next podcast, maybe.
Could be.
And we'll talk about some of the other guys. But, like, those three have definite potential. Only thing with him is you won't see him. He didn't come to this rookie thing. I very much doubt he'll come next season or come to the developmental camp in September. I don't think you'll see him. I think he'll stay in Finland and just develop and try to get better. I think that's the mindset right now. And I'm fine with that. We talked about Norlander having a season that got kind of messed up by coming to camp and missing the camp over in Liga. I think that his dad and agent know enough to kind of keep him over there.
Be a smart move.
I think so.
Yesterday obviously was the big day, man. Free agent frenzy. You know what's funny? When I used to work at Alberta, I used to take it off. I used to always take off free agent frenzy. I'd be like, man, I'm not coming in tomorrow. Just like I was friggin' Bob McKenzie or something. Everyone used to get a good chuckle out of it. But, oh, yeah. But Mark Bergevin was like, that was his day, man. Remember Radulov and that shit? Oh, he was always putting in work on during free agency. But yesterday, man, I was more impressed about Kent Hughes just being like, no, I'm not gonna take a big swing at these guys and give them a duffel bag full of cash. Some of those contracts yesterday were dog shit, man. I gotta say, I was some of them were shocking. Yeah. Boston tied up a lot of money in the Lindholm, a lot of term. Jeez, the Sens again. I don't know what the Sens are even thinking. It was a crazy day.
$1 billion yesterday. The first time.
Yeah.
Over $1 billion got spread out.
$1 billion.
It's crazy.
Man, meanwhile, I'm going down to the store like to get a big bag of Doritos or something, and I'm like, holy shit, can I do this? Like, is this doable?
Inflation.
Yeah. These guys are buying Doritos by the box, man.
Absolutely.
Unreal. Absolutely. Makes me sick.
Like Jeff Skinner signed in Edmonton. I thought that was a good ad, man. Like he's getting paid by like 3 teams. I thought that was solid.
Oh man, he's living large. Jeff Skinner smiling, man. You could tell him the worst news in life, and he's just gonna look at you with a big smile on his face.
I think I'll just go to Edmonton and play with Connor McDavid. No big deal.
Yeah, man, he's doing good.
I thought they added some nice depth to their forward group. Really, to be honest with you, I thought they did a decent job of adding there. The Leafs added some defensive pieces that could move their needle, or at least solidify their back end a little bit, maybe. I hope not.
I can't help but laugh. I'm just laughing because the Leafs, man, just make me laugh every year. I don't know why. Some of the shit they do.
Oliver Larsson, Tanev.
Oh, what could possibly go wrong?
Not enough. Not enough in my mind.
No, man. No, not enough. You're right. Yeah.
Oh, God. I don't know. But like you said, like when you look at, and Ken Hughes put it, anyone who's was disappointed yesterday, was disappointed today, really wasn't paying attention, I don't think, to what Hughes was saying. I mean, he came out and pretty much said, listen, unless we can get a guy who's willing to come here on a short-term deal and maybe we'll give him a little bit more money, then that's not gonna happen for us. So, we're not gonna block our young guys coming through. But if we can get some help for our roster right now for the work the guys have put in, that we'll do that. And I thought that like day one of free agency, that wasn't going to happen. At the end of the day, those guys have, there's deals on the table. The guys who are getting signed on day one are getting the money they want. So they're not taking the short-term deal, even at the higher AAV, I don't think. As it goes on, some of these guys you'll see that are lingering. Those are the guys that could. Like there's a couple of names left out there who could look at it and say, listen, I'm not getting the term that I want. No. Maybe I'll take a little bit more coin and go to a different place. And Montreal is in a position where they can offer them that kind of short-term money, because we do have some short-term cap space, and like in a show me contract. And, even if it's 2 years opposed to 1, sign that deal and say, all right, come and kind of bridge the gap between, help us be more competitive this upcoming season, but don't block the way for our guys who are coming through in a couple of years. So, I wouldn't be surprised if we could still see somebody sign, but I would have been surprised to see it in day 1 or day 2 of free agency when guys are getting the money that they want. Just people fighting over these guys. We want leftovers essentially, and we want a guy who's desperate and needs to kind of show somebody what he can do, and is willing to take a little bit of shorter term and a little bit maybe more money in that short term to prove it.
There's a guy you mentioned to me earlier that's still available. I'm pretty sure he's still available, eh? Bring him up.
I haven't seen him signed anywhere anyways.
Max Pack. Wolverine used to call him, because he would always come back from injuries quick. And guess what? Nowadays, he don't come back as quick at all, does he?
He comes back quick and then goes back off again. Oh, poor guy.
Oh, it's terrible. Yeah,
But
I
apparently
like
he's healthy now.
You see,
I always like.
apparently.
I thought Pacioretty was. Goal scorers don't make good captains in my book. Like if that's their one trick, you know what I mean? Because if you're not scoring, then there's a lot of pressure on you. There's a lot of heat. Max Pacioretty was a goal scorer. And as captain, when he wasn't scoring goals, he wasn't doing a whole lot else. And he took a lot of heat for it. But I thought he did a decent job when he was there. I wouldn't mind seeing him back again on a cheap deal. Fill out your top 6 or middle 6 at least. Could be interesting. And I think he adds a lot.
Dr.
He knows
man.
what the
Poor Dr. Mulder's never going to get to retire. He's always going to have a job in Montreal, man, just fixing these guys up. Look at poor old mechanic.
I mean, Pacioretty knows what the stress is. He knows what Montreal is. He knows the environment. He's been there. He's done that. I think it wouldn't be. Now, whether he come back there or not is a different story altogether. And I mean, new management, maybe they don't even care, about Max Pacioretty. But I mean, they cared about Slafkovsky, so who knows?
True. You never know,
man.
Any
other names? I'm going to run through. I got a list here from Cap Friendly, which is going to go bye-bye soon, by all accounts, of the 15 top UFAs left available. All right, so I'm going to read this list out to you. I'm going to skip the first one because Joe Pavelski is retiring by all accounts. So it's actually going to be top 14. And when I'm done the list, I'm going to read 15 names out. When I'm done, I'm going to point at you, and you say one. All right. Who's your guy?
Okay.
If you're going to sign one to a 1-2-year deal, we won't worry about money for the beginning, but you just tell me one. All right. So here's the list. There's Vladimir Tarasenko, Daniel Sprague, James Van Riemsdyk, Tyler Johnson, Jack Roslovic, Cam Atkinson, Justin Schultz, Kevin Shattenkirk, Mike Hoffman, Max Pacioretty, Philip Zadina, Kyle Oppozo, Blake Wheeler, and Cal Clutterbuck.
Okay. I mean, it's tempting to grab Mike Hoffman and go for the first overall pick next season, not going to lie. Just wanted to get that right out there. But I don't know, man. Like, if I had a choice, I'll tell you who I'll go with. I'd go with this guy. Vladimir Tarasenko. And I'll tell you why. He was pretty good throughout the regular season. He was pretty good in the playoffs, 9 points, 25 games, but he just won a Stanley Cup, man. And if you can get this guy on a 1 or 2 year deal, look at that experience that you can, insert into a playoff contending team. I think that's the guy right there. You get him going, you get him healthy. Potential. Oh, yeah, and he's got the experience. He's got the cup runs. I tell you. It's all up here, Gary.
I think I'd like Tarasenko on a 1-year deal especially.
Yeah, 1-year deal would be good.
1-year deal, even around like what are you thinking? Can we see what his contract was?
Good question. Let's see if we can get cap friendly.
In the top corner there, cap hit $5 million.
Oh shit!
Yeah, $5 million. It was there.
$5 million.
Yeah, there it is. So he was making $5 million. I wouldn't mind 1 year at $5 million again. Even put it to 6 if it gets you a year. And you can retain, get some retention slots. You can retain at the deadline. If we're not where we want to be, it gives you, you get a chance to flip him for an asset. And if you are where you want to be, then you just keep him for an own rental and then walk him into free agency. It's no big deal. You didn't give up anything to get him. So I don't mind that at all. I agree. For me, it would be him. I wouldn't mind Tyler Johnson either. I think Tyler Johnson could fit in what Montreal's trying to do. Similarly, I don't know what his totals were this season, but or Pacioretty. I mean, Pacioretty is more of he's taking beans to me. Like, you're not paying Pacioretty hardly anything to come there. You're not breaking the bank to bring him in.
One of those bags of Doritos. That's all he's getting.
Yeah, right. But at the end of the day, I agree. I think Tarasenko could be a nice ad. I think offense, he could legitimately play in your top 6 and complement that top 6 on the wing. And I think he'd be pretty decent. And like I said, 1 year would be my limit, though, I think, with him. I think at 2 years, you could end up having to do what Ottawa did and just kind of give him away at the deadline. And you don't want to go down that road. So I think 1 year and just kind of see what you got, add them to your system, and then walk away from it at the end of next year. The other thing we didn't talk about, I mentioned it last podcast again. I'm still not convinced that there's not a trade coming. I don't know if it's like Martin Necas hasn't moved, Mitch Marner hasn't moved, Lonnie hasn't moved, and Zegras hasn't moved. All these names have been mentioned and linked to Montreal off and on, but linked to everyone in the league. None of those guys moved at the draft. They're all still available. They all still need to be moved. And you got to think that happens between now and next season for at least a couple of them. So there's a lot of movement got to happen.
There is a lot of movement.
And I don't like Patrick Laine. I don't even know if I want him. I'll be honest with you.
Here we go again. Let's bring it up.
Huge question marks. But I don't know.
I know, man. He's tempting, ain't he? Hang on. I got to change his picture. Where's the one I want? You know what? We'll just stick with that. All right. I
didn't know you could do that.
Oh, man. I play around with this stuff all the time, man. The Hockey DB's a wicked site. Shout out to them. Shout out to Hockey DB. Patrick Laine.
Fixed power pass. Not you.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
interesting name, though.
If you brought him in and it didn't work out, no one would be shocked. He wouldn't be shocked. Your organization wouldn't be shocked. Your fan base wouldn't be shocked. Chuck him down to minors and wait for his contract to expire. Wipe your hands of the guy. No hard feelings. Didn't work out. We gave you a shot. End of discussion. You're not giving up any assets to get him. No, nothing worthwhile. I in my trade proposal last week, I said send Josh Anderson back. If anything, that shortens your contractual commitments. Anderson signed $5.5 million for the next 3 seasons. Lonnie's at 8.2 for next 2 seasons. So you shorten it up. You get out from underneath an extra $5.5 million 3 years from now when you're going to need that $5.5 million. Yeah. And if Lonnie doesn't work out, he's off the books in 2 years. I don't know. To me, it's a low risk, potentially high reward move that bolsters your top 6 in the short term. And he's young enough at 26 years old that if he does figure it out, you got yourself a legit top 6 winger for the next 10 years.
If he did figure it out and like the city just took to him and he took to the city, man, could be.
I mean, he did good in Winnipeg.
He did, yeah.
No, he didn't get branded out of Winnipeg.
There's even chatter about him going back.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, it's not like he's anti-Canadian or anything like that. Nice, Winnipeg. No. He put up good point totals there. The last time he played a full healthy season, or even when he played 60-something games the last time, he was almost point per game. I mean, that's close to, even at his like mediocrity for Laine is almost point per game. That's solid, So, yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting proposition, anyway.
That's food for the comment section.
There you go. Talk about it. I got ripped apart a little bit about that last week too, so I don't mind again. I got broad shoulders.
Attaboy. Gary's not afraid to walk into the kitchen, I'll tell you that.
Absolutely not. All right, so Junkie.
What do you figure? That's it?
I like cooking. Well, I was thinking we got to make a beer bet of the week. This is our first. This is our first video podcast.
It is.
We did. We did the draft. This is our new. I think moving forward, this is going to be our new kind of interface, our new platform.
Yeah,
we've been evolving, man. We've evolved from just
it's a whole new Pokemon now.
Yeah, to to YouTube at the beginning of this year, and now you can actually see our beautiful faces. So we got to do a beer bet of the week.
What do you want to do? Who's due? It's on you.
Is it on me?
It is on you. We're going to say it is.
There's no even games to bet on right now. So I'd say, here's what I'm going to say. All right. The Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah.
What's the date today? The date today is
July 2nd.
of July. So between now and the 9th of July, so 1 week from now, the Montreal Canadiens will sign a potential, this gets a bit great, potential top 6 forward on a short-term contract or trade for one in the next 7 days. And I'm going to put a half case of Coors Light on that bad boy.
Sounds good. And if you lose, I accept. But there's going to be a stipulation. If you lose this one, right?
Which is possible.
Which is possible. You're going to have to make me bacon and eggs for breakfast.
Done.
And beer. So I'm going to really
beer.
Triple right up. Yeah. You don't make the beer, though. You just bring the beer.
I'll bring the beer and make the bacon and eggs. Steal.
Are we good or what?
You're in for a treat, man. I'm a cook. I'm like Chef Boyardee Gary.
Chef Boyardee. That's our boy.
There you go. Oh, there it is. All right, guys.
God, man.
Here we are from Hockey Junkie and GK.
We'll see you next time.